Political commentator, Maria Cardona, senior political contributor and Democratic strategist, and Matt Schlapp, former George W. Bush political director. Good to have all of you on. Donald Trump is responding to the violence in Dallas with a new pitch to voters.
Not only am I the law and order candidate, but I'm also the candidate of compassion. Believe it, the candidate of compassion. But you can't have true compassion without providing safety. It's the job of the next president to make America safe again for everyone. Everyone.
So is it true, Buck Sexton, can he be both the law and order candidate and the candidate of compassion?
I mean, I think he definitely looks more like the law and order candidate when compared with Hillary Clinton, and that's really all he has to do. When it comes to compassion, I mean, I think that's another place where Hillary is going to have some deficiencies. I mean, her ability to connect with voters on an emotional level, on a person-to-person level, is one of her greatest inabilities. Actually, that's one of the biggest weak spots that she has. And on this issue, I mean, look, she's had meetings with Black Lives Matter activists. It's been a tough week for Hillary Clinton to be posing as somebody who is particularly concerned about police tactics. And when I say concerned, I mean she's critical of them. She's not concerned about the difficulties of the police.
I asked you if he can be the compassion candidate.
Oh, no, I mean, I think he certainly looks like the law and order. I mean, I think he looks like the that's a fair point. I think he looks like the law and order candidate in comparison. But he has no law enforcement experience, so it's really just all theoretical with him. And, you know, I think he can. I think cops like him, I'll say that.
Thank you for answering my question. I
tried.
Matt, Oklahoma Governor Mary Fallin said that Trump is trying to campaign as a racial healer. Do you agree with that?
You know, I think what he's trying to do is try to, there's a balance, as you've tried to demonstrate in your whole show tonight, Don, which is people don't hate the idea that law enforcement is under attack. We have assassinations. We have people saying the most horrible, strident things about them. At the same time, we have all of this racial discord around the country. And Donald Trump actually cut, I think, a very revealing video that he put online that I thought really explained what he wanted to do. So I think he's just trying to hit that balance. But I tell you what, this is an election about upending Washington and about security, economic security, national security, but it's also about our communities and our neighborhoods, and people feel very threatened and unsafe, and this is the theme of this election.
Yeah. Maria, do you think Trump has tried to heal the racial division, or do you think he is stoking it in some way with comments, you know, i.e. Mexicans or maybe Muslim ban?
It's absolutely stoking it. And so when he talks about being the candidate of compassion, it's cringeworthy and laughable at the same time. Let's remember that this was, to your point, Don, the candidate who started his candidacy during his announcement calling Mexican immigrants rapists and criminals. He wants to ban all Muslims. This is the guy who was stoking violence at his own rallies, telling his to punch out people who were protesting. So when people
hurt him.
When people look, well, it certainly helped him win the nomination, absolutely. But what he is doing now is he's doing absolutely nothing to add to his support. Right now, he needs to appeal to a broader section, cross-section of this country, and he is absolutely doing nothing in order to do that. And when he talks about being the candidate of compassion, he doesn't back that up with absolutely anything.
Let them respond, Maria.
All of his proposals are completely the opposite.
I'll let the gentleman go first, and then I'd love to go too.
Go ahead, Matt.
Okay, well, I mean, Maria, I actually think we'd all have to look at what he's done over the course of the last couple days and say, you know, he has chosen his words more carefully. He's had careful scripts, both in the speech and in this video message he put forward. He's talking about healing. I think we all too casually inject race into our politics, and it's rather frightening because I think our society is more fragile than we realize. And I think what we see with Donald Trump is he's being more careful in these areas, and I think he's going to be rewarded for it.
Yeah, go ahead.
But you need to back that up with proposals.
Maria, we had a deal. We had a deal, Maria. No, I'm not somebody who's unwilling to criticize Donald Trump, but on this issue right now, I think he's much closer to where the American people are. Given what we saw in Dallas and given the acceleration of really a virulent anti-cop rhetoric over a period of many months, The fact of the matter is, when Donald Trump says that he stands with the cops on this issue and he stands with their families, I think that that resonates a lot more than anything that Hillary Clinton can say. And when he talks about her pandering and he talks about the outreach that she's done to leftist groups that are
he's got to
clearly
get the Hillary Clinton thing in there.
Let me tell you why.
Counterpoint, right? It's not just that Trump is imperfect.
Let me tell you why that is wrong. When he even talks about being the candidate of law and order and supporting police, absolutely. We all support our men and women in police uniforms who go out there every single day. The vast majority of them are honorable people, honest people who are putting their lives on the line for all of us, for civil society. But when he leaves out talking about the issue of racial bias, of racism and discrimination that is happening in this country, when he stokes division in this country, when he uses corrosive and divisive rhetoric, and Matt, you give him credit for the last
Maria,
2
look
days.
At that.
For God's sake, he's been running for over a year.
Maria, look at the video.
He's benefiting from low expectations. You have to put him on the line
Maria,
and say,
don't make
what are
me
you
yell.
proposing?
Don't make me yell like those other people before us. But if you actually look at the tweets over the last couple of days on this topic and you look at the video message he put online, he actually talked about the fact that we have to heal our divisions. I think he used very temperate language.
He said one line about it. One line, Matt.
But you know what? Give him credit for the fact that
no proposals. Doesn't talk about bringing people together. Doesn't talk about there is inherent racial bias.
And it's something
I'm sorry,
like
he doesn't get the credit for that.
It had no bearing on the realities of what could actually be done to make things better. It was platitudinous. It was a waste of everybody's time. And quite honestly, for a lot of cops and cops that I talked to, it's too late. Because I know that when it was politically expedient for Hillary, she was very willing to speak in a way that cops found to be unhelpful about the situation, about their situation, day in and day out. I mean, I heard what you said, and I would agree with you. Cops are doing fantastic work all across the country. But a lot of people right now are questioning, why are senior members of the Democratic Party finally just coming around now to the difficulties that police have,
Maria,
and the fact that the rhetoric against them has been out of control.
Let her respond, Bob.
Hillary Clinton and the Obama administration have been talking about supporting cops, supporting police officers from day one. But what they also have been talking about, which is where Donald Trump has never gone, is that you have to bring communities together, and you do that by acknowledging the hurt and the racial discrimination and the racial bias that is inherent in our system. And if you don't do that, then you don't get credit for saying the word compassion. I'm sorry.